We're joined by a group of us internally in the comms department. Today it'll be myself, Ashlyn Whitford, and Tina Jaquez giving a presentation on all that we've got going on for Zero Fare for Better Air this year. Everyone see my screen, yes?
Yep. Yes.
All right, excellent. And I should note too, we also have folks from other parts of the agency, transit police, operations, to answer any questions we have towards the end. So if there are any questions, please save towards the end and we'll address those accordingly. So with that being said, as far as RTD goes, the biggest news this year, in addition to us enacting this again, is that it's extended through July and August. So that's a very exciting opportunity for us to not only introduce people to the system who may not have ridden sometime, but also refamiliarize people with it and hopefully build habits moving forward with this 2-month span. So very excited about that. We've kept the same brand this year, Zero Fare for Better Air. And Ashlyn's going to go into some of the creative that we've got to highlight and some of the expanded suite that we've created this year and some of the tools we have to share with you all. So thank you all, of course, for your collaboration and support in this and getting the word out across the region. Our messaging not only focuses on environmental benefits, but also the transit benefits across RTD and all public transit. So excited to showcase that as well through an integrated bilingual marketing and communications campaign that, again, Ashlyn will touch on and showcase all the fun, exciting assets we have. And again, really excited to partner and coordinate with all of you. Thank you for joining and collaborating with us. And with that said, I'll pass over to Ashlyn to walk us through some of the creative.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Josh. All right. And again, thank you all for being here this morning. Really excited to have you all and share more information. So for the big reveal, this is the main look and feel for Zero Fare for Better Air, July through August 2023. Just hop on board the bus or train. So similar lockup to last year. However, you'll see in the next few slides, we go through that we have some new executions we put together specifically for 2023. And knowing that this serves as the main foundation for the campaign, this translates across different creative executions and mediums that we'll begin to explore that next. All right, so here you'll see the cloud execution that we just saw, and that is from last year as well. We did add 4 other executions, being a mountain range, starry night sky, meadow and stream, followed by aspen trees. And really the idea behind these various executions was to represent and not only showcase the various geographies across the region. And these were really chosen to speak to how we're positively impacting the ozone issue at hand. So going through some of our campaign elements, this slide really demonstrates what the creative will look like out in the marketplace. So you'll see a various mix and match applications of the executions that we just saw, just to keep our creative and messaging fresh across all of the various platforms that we're utilizing. And we will be doing everything from billboards, both traditional and digital and streaming, and of course, working with vehicle interiors and exteriors. So touching on some additional tactics we'll be utilizing to showcase and make sure that awareness is heightened and the public is well informed on this initiative. This slide highlights the print ads that we're placing. So again, really mixing it up with our set of executions and keeping that message clear and fresh. And as Josh mentioned earlier, we do have a bilingual component, being Spanish. So we have Spanish assets created, which will be available in our toolkit on the Zero Fare webpage, which I'll touch on shortly. But these examples here are really reflective of the variety of other media that we'll be showcasing. So where it makes sense, we'll have bilingual messaging to assist in elevating that awareness. We do have a lot of digital assets created for this campaign. So here we have an example of a scrolling social media carousel We kept it pretty simple here just to reinforce that messaging that everyone understands. It's really easy just to get to the station or bus stop and just hop on. So the first tile here features the zero fare lockup. Hop on the bus for the next tile, hop on the train, and just hop on board. No tickets required for July through August. And in addition to promoting cleaner air, of course, and zero fare, we wanted to include some supporting narrative, really outlining the benefits of RTD at zero fare. So with the creative, you will see various messaging pop up, whether that's saving money, saving gas with the prices that seem to be going back up again, reducing congestion on the roads, improving air quality, and really just having some time to yourself to do what you want, whether that's reading a book, scrolling through your emails, or just taking a break. And we'll also be promoting Transit Watch to emphasize that safety aspect as well and really remind customers to be courteous of fellow customers and RTD employees. And just a few side notes here about our service during July and August. So during zero fare, we will operate under our current service plan. We will not be adding service, and we don't have the capacity to increase frequency. And with the workforce shortage really surrounding operators, mechanics, body shop techs, and even service and cleaning, those critical frontline positions don't allow us to expand. Our transit police team is working with agencies within the district so that they can aid and provide some support at stops within their designated areas as well. And they will closely monitor for any issues and make the call to alter staffing as needed. So with that being said, we will be doing all we can from an operations and security standpoint to really ensure that we're delivering, a pleasant experience. So when the campaign is over, the customers who have fare will hopefully continue to ride, and those who try RTD during those 2 months of July and August will consider purchasing past programs and continue riding with us. So I'll touch a bit on the planned RTD external rollout and what we will be doing in terms of planned activities. So we will have paid print, paid digital advertising, social, radio, out of home, meaning billboards, and a lot of organic social media on our site as well. We do have that dedicated program webpage, which I know a lot of you are familiar with last year, where you can go to rtd-denver.com/zerofare, and you can find some really helpful files and contacts for any of our partners that might need it. We are doing a lot of on-vehicle and station assets, institutional and corporate customer communications. This would be communications to our EcoPass holders, college pass holders, and people of that nature. Public relations will be a big component of this as well, whether that's news releases, interactions with the media, making content available, communicating to our stakeholder newsletter, and really other distribution lists to customers so the public is well aware. In terms of having all of the departments involved in this campaign, community engagement will be a big part of this by being involved in customer appreciation events. So this would be if any of our partners are interested in hosting events. Market development will be involved with a comprehensive outreach and coordination plan for past program, mobile coordinators, and customers. For the customer care side of things, they will be continuing to promote service alerts and updates. Their agents will field questions that come in similar to last year and have a variety of talking points to cover. So they will be tracking and responding to customer comments, including a designated email, which we'll show you later, but it's zerofarertd-denver.com for any inquiries that come through from the partner side and the public. And touching on our toolkit that I've been mentioning, so we have a variety of different assets in our toolkit that are available now to anyone, all of you, who would like more information or if you wish to utilize these assets that we've prepared. So everything is available to you. You can adapt or creative and really promote this initiative based on your individual needs. You can find a variety of files from the main lockup executions, images, key messaging, social content, newsletter and news release samples. So there's a lot on there. And on the webpage, we have some information on NextRide, Transit Watch, and we're excited to share that we also have a new How to Ride video. So really excited to promote that and encourage you to take a look at that. So again, we invite you to visit this page and utilize this material at your needs. And with that, I will pass it over to Tina, who will now talk about engagement and other initiatives that you can be a part of.
Great, thank you. Did we want to hold questions till the end, or did you want to take anything now? Okay, we'll get your question there at the, I see we have a hand up, and we'll get that at the end, if you can hang on to that. Thank you. So with that, just want to, with the toolkit being outlined there, thank you for all your support last year. We really do appreciate all the support you guys gave us last year. Hope the toolkit was helpful last year, and we hope it'll be helpful this year. It's ready to go, and we have some great things in there. And feel free to start rolling that out next week, as we'll start launching our items next week. And I'll get into that timeline here in a bit. But as you have, excuse me, as you have those things available to you, you can start to modify those things with your logo and for your geography next week. You can start to create your own social posts and add those to your website using your own artwork. Also, you can share and like and engage with our social posts. And we ask you to use the hashtag #ZeroFair, Better Air, and also RTD with any social engagement that you use. Send out your own news releases, emails, notifications, any newsletter articles that you might write or use in your newsletters. We've got a template and a template newsletter or sample newsletter, very similar to what we did last year. But if you have media that you work with regularly, you can use that newsletter or news release template, modify it however you'd like. Or if you have an activation or a station engagement event set up, you can use that news release for that. I can tell you how to get a permit later in this PowerPoint. We have some information on that if you want to set up an engagement opportunity at one of our stations throughout the next through the months of ZeroFair. Socialize with your followers in your communities, and as I said, schedule an event or an activation event at one of the stations. So those are things you can do with the tools. And the next slide. And these are just examples of the newsletter copy and the news release, which you'll find in the toolkit online. And then, like last year, we again will have a media event to kick off the 2 months, and that's going to be held on June 22nd. 2 weeks from today at 10 o'clock. We are still in the process of solidifying our speakers list. So we've got invitations sent out to some speakers. Of course, our general manager and CEO, Deborah Johnson, will be a speaker, as well as our first vice chair, Peggy Catlin. Our chair, Lynn Geisinger, is not available on that day. So our first vice chair will be speaking on that day. And next week, we hope to send another advisory out with our speakers list. So we're finalizing that. But we hope you all can join us next or in 2 weeks for that event. And that'll be at Union Station near Track 7 at Commuter Rail. Here's a timeline of events. So we're at the week of June 5th. You are all here for this TMO and partner orientation to learn how you can help support us in your communities. The partner toolkit is available, as Ashlyn outlined. And on the 15th, we will roll out our promotional pieces and the on-vehicle advertising, the in-system, as well as paid digital, environmental, and other assets. June 22nd, as I said, we'll have our media kickoff, as well as, our media kickoff at Union Station, which we hope you all can join us for. And then August 21st, if you can help us kind of start to get the message out there that people need to start thinking that September is coming, and hopefully not just our regular customers, but we have some new people who have tried out our system and are committed after making it a habit after 2 months, and they want to start making it a long-term habit of using the system, and need to start thinking about becoming a regular user in September. Here are some resources for you all. The dedicated page, rtd-denver.com/zero-fare. The dedicated email, if customers have questions, is zerofare@rtd-denver.com. And if you all need a permit for any sort of events you'd like to have at our stations, Susan Altus is our Senior Manager of Real Property, and her email address is susan.altus@rtd-denver.com. And I think we can put that in the chat if that's helpful to you all. And with that, I think we can open it up to questions. I just want to again say thank you all very much for being here, because we really rely on you all to help us get the word out to your local communities, and you all have been very supportive, and I know you guys generate a lot of excitement for this initiative every last year and this year, and so we're excited to have you guys involved again. And I think we can start with questions if you want to do that. Do you want me to do that, Josh, or do you want to?
Yeah, sure. We're
Okay.
flowing, so go ahead and we can all
Okay.
kind of jump in. I'll just say quickly, as I mentioned, we've got representatives from across the agency, not only communications, but transit police, bus operations, rail, including commuter rail and light rail operations. So excited to have them all answer any questions. And again, this presentation and all the assets will be available on the Zero Fare page. The toolkit's currently live, and links to helpful tools like our Next Ride web app, Transit Watch app, and then also the new How to Ride video, which we're again excited to introduce. So I'm really excited with that. Yeah, let's just open it up for questions, and we'll just kind of field them as they come and route them appropriately. And of course, if there's anyone else from RTD that wants to jump in and say anything, feel free as well. I think we're open dialogue here, obviously. So,
Okay.
Steve, I saw your hand go first. Let's start with you.
Hey, thanks a lot. Yeah, so again, I'll take any questions, but I do have one on the opposite end. So a couple of things. One is, do you know, I know this is, I don't know if this is completed and ready to be sent out, but is there any way to,
Are you muted, Steve?
I hear him.
Oh.
I hear him.
Okay. I just want to see if there was any way to really, I don't know if we could accentuate like the date. I know it says July and August, and we all understand, but I mean, maybe like really putting out there August 31st or something like that for the visual aspect of it. Cause I know that the issues that we have, that I continue to hear is, when we stop doing this, that's where, then September, we're going to have some issues, right? You're going to have the people September 1st, 2nd type deal. So I don't know, obviously I'm not in marketing, but it's just a concept of if we could really, hit a date so people's eyes are there and we know that this is stopping August 31st.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, we're getting an echo here. So a lot of the assets that we have, that specific date will be referenced more as we approach that end date of this, and more targeted message and media, whether that's social media or in the news, obviously, and things of that nature. For the assets themselves, given the money, costs, time, and resources it takes to install, and just the gist of the message, we really wanted to stand out. So that's why we don't have specific dates a la July 1st through August 31st, but we'll certainly be pushing that messaging of starting I think it's a Tuesday, September 1st, or it might be a Monday. Can't recall off the top of my head, but we'll definitely be more specific as far as the end date in all our communications.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I can't see who else is next. Can you see, Ashlyn, who's next? If there was another hand raised.
Let's see, I believe Nisha, and I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. I believe you were up next.
Thank you. It's Nisha, so appreciate that. Appreciate you calling on me. I really like the expansion of the brand identity, so really great work on that. I had a few questions. I will just ask one for now and see if anyone else asks the other questions around like goals and surveys. But as far as permitting, we are planning, we and the other TMAs are planning to do some activations on July 25th. We're going to call it Transit Day. I was wondering if the permitting process will be expedited in any way, or will this be sort of the typical right-of-way permitting process that may take several weeks? Will there be any sort of, I guess, efficiencies added to the process?
I'll jump in. Oh, sorry, we're dealing with two computers here. I'll jump in to say I can't speak specifically to that. I know we'll work as hard as we can to expedite that process, given the timeliness and the collaboration of this. But that's something that we should definitely discuss. And if you wanted to follow up with the group or Susan Altez, we can then plant that seed as early as possible so that we kind of get that ball rolling. But I know our whole team is engaged in this across the agency, and we'll do all we can to support those events because we really want to support them and be a part of them and collaborate on them. So we'll do what we can. I know that.
Can I recommend, I don't know, for what it's worth, will you just make sure you put on
I
there
think
that it's
next
for zero?
Next here, we have Anne.
Hey,
I think you're muted, Tina. I see you.
I can hear
I
you,
was able
Tina.
to hear her,
isn't
yeah.
that, it's weird. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's weird. It had it. I would just recommend on the permit, maybe making sure you put zero, that it's an event for zero fare, and let's see if that helps it at all. I don't know if that will, but let's make sure you reference that on your permit
Thank you.
for sure. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Tina. And Anne, looks like you're next. If you have a question.
Well, I'm from the State Transit Association here in Colorado, and I wanted to mention just to this group that things are a little more confusing here beyond the RTD area in the sense that this program is also running around the state. We have agencies around the state that actually started their zero fare program on June 1 and will run it till the end of August. Some agencies will start July 1 and run till the end of August, and some will start August 1 and run till the end of August. So I just wanted to let you know we're trying to be really clear with our materials, but if you got any questions about why that's different, you're welcome to send them our way. I'm also going to put a link to a landing page that we've put together for zero fare around the state, and that will include a list of all the agencies that are participating beyond RTD in the state. I'm also going to put a link out to the map that we have that shows what agencies are going to be, we don't have this quite complete yet because we're waiting for a few applications, but what agencies are going to be zero fare which months. So just so you know that level of confusion is out there in the state, and we're sorry about it. But there is, with the program just really opened up this year because the funding was available earlier, and they made it in the bill for agencies other than RTD that they could use the funding for all 3 months of the ozone season. So just so you know, it's out there, and if there's confusion, I'm happy to help clarify things.
And I'll just follow up. This is Steve Riley from RTD. That Anne is an amazing partner, and of course, we're more than happy to assist with any additional needs or questions anyone might have. However, also feel free to reach out to Anne because we've been in very close collaboration with her and the other events that are going on around the state. So we can kind of help to all put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah, thanks so much. We do appreciate your partnership, and you might notice when you look at materials from other agencies around the state that RTD allowed us to kind of take the images that they had put together last year and then do kind of expand upon them and make them look different for other agencies around the state. So we appreciate the partnership as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Anne. Really appreciate that. All right, and it looks like Joe Beaver, you're next. If you have a question.
Yes, it's more of a comment than a question. We need to take a look at the bus stops themselves, because that in itself is where a lot of resistance comes to people riding public transportation. Because I live off of Colfax, Route 16, and the bus stops just seem to be dispensaries for hard drugs, and that makes it really uncomfortable for people who just want transportation.
Yeah, I can speak to it. I don't know, Steve, if you want to jump in on this, but I know that our transit police team is doing all they can do to adapt and keep up with you know, the evolving macro issues that Denver metro region is facing. And we're working with obviously a variety of internal teams and using the resources we can as best as we can to mitigate some of these activities. And you know, we can't get any and everything. And Steve, I certainly don't want to be speaking for you, but I just wanted to make sure that we address that, and we definitely are aware and doing all we can to make this a pleasant experience. And as Ashton mentioned earlier, our Respect the Ride campaign, making sure that we're really promoting the messaging. All of our on-vehicle assets promote being courteous to fellow customers and RTD employees. So we understand the challenges that we face, but we're really hoping that through our messaging and just through a collaboration of just pushing that and doing what we all can collectively to make it a positive experience, that we really deliver on that.
I would agree with that, Josh, and I would also echo that by saying we're also in, conversation with all the municipalities, because a lot of folks don't know that certain stops and shelters around the system are actually not owned and operated by RTD. They're operated by cities and municipalities. So we're trying to cover the wide gamut of locations to make sure that everyone feels very safe and secure, not only riding our system, but also waiting for our vehicles, boarding our vehicles, et cetera. And I think I may have seen Stuart Summers, who is our Chief Communications Officer, with his hand up as well. I wondered if he had a comment to chime in, or if it was something separate, Stuart.
No, I'm happy to chime in. And Joe, thanks for bringing that up. It's been on our radar as well. We want to make sure that the experience is inviting and welcoming. So I just took a note of that. I know that our government relations officer has been having meetings, like Steve mentioned, with different municipalities, cities, government agencies, and partners, just to ensure that they're aware of this. We want to make sure that we are, rolling out the red carpet to the best of our ability and inviting people to, experience transit, and we want it to be welcoming. So I appreciate you bringing that up. If I also may, I know there's been some questions about the survey in the chat, and if it's okay right now, I'll quickly address that, because I think that's an important topic. We're just finalizing a contract to do a comprehensive survey. We will be doing what we call intercepts. So we will be engaging with customers and users of the system. And we plan to roll that out as early as possible, probably mid-July. And we're just finalizing the questions for that, working with a vendor to help us implement that survey. I know a number of you do your own surveys and have your own efforts to also collect feedback, and we appreciate that. If anyone is planning to do maybe a specific survey related to your own area, your TMO, TMA, please reach out to me. Let's coordinate. Let's make sure that we're all on the same page. And that will help us all be, just effective. And we can talk about our timeline to make sure it doesn't interrupt anything that you're planning. So just work with me, and we're happy to engage with you on those surveys.
Stuart, if you don't mind, if I could just add as well, I mean, that's why the Transit Watch app is a huge push out to get that word out. For those that don't know what the Transit Watch app is, it's a text-based app, and it goes directly to our police communication center. So, try to push those out as much as you can within your conversations. And then that's the way, that's how we get stuff real time, knowing where the issues are. Along Colfax, and other areas, we have RTD hires secondary employment officers with Aurora, Denver, Lakewood, and Thornton PD as well. So, we have resources out there that a lot of people don't know that we do have. So if you could tell us when you're seeing things, where it's happening, we will definitely work on getting that resolved. So.
Great point, Steve. Thank you for reinforcing that Transit Watch messaging. Is it Earl Lee? Is that next?
Yes, thank you. Actually, Joe and Josh both touched on this a little bit. The Respect the Ride program that you're beginning to roll out. I assume that's going to be enforced during this time frame, because I think we're going to see more people experiencing houselessness, riding RTD assets because of the free fare. There tends to be issues with some of those people wanting to bring large volumes of material, such as one guy brought a tent on one time, or wagons, or things like that. So I'm just curious how you intend to enforce some of those policies or reinforce the whole Respect the Ride program.
Thank you for your question, Earl. And I believe, Stuart, you just raised your hand if you would like to speak to this or something else.
Yeah, I'll definitely address that, and then I'll have Deputy Chief Martingano also weigh in. Earl, I appreciate the question. So a couple things. We have an existing customer code of conduct that's currently in place that we operate under. On June 27th, our board of directors will take action related to Respect the Ride and consider adopting that. If that action is taken and they adopt it, then we'll plan to do a significant rollout of branding and signage and updates that probably won't happen immediately, but we'll start to put into place and communicate, you know, the expectations of respect for other customers, the vehicles, the facilities, our employees, etc. Yes, we are planning to enforce and we'll continue to enforce. And that's where I want maybe Deputy Chief Martingano. I know he's been working with other agencies and municipalities on making sure that we do have that enforcement during this 2 months.
Yeah, so just to go to the code of conduct again, you know, that's a policy, that's an RTD policy, right? So, you know, if someone is violating that, the first point of contact will be, you know, our security officers, or, you know, depending if an employee is in a position to be able to do so, we tell them that they're doing something that is not allowed on RTD property, which would be commonplace no matter what properties, right? If they continue those behaviors, then they are asked to leave. If they don't leave, then we have the criminal trespassing aspect of it. And that's where the criminal, you know, that's where the police involvement is going to be more involved. So we have spoken to multiple agencies, especially, you know, we go through 8 counties and 40 cities. So they're definitely aware of who we are. They are aware of this program. You know, we don't know what the 2 months are going to hold. Last year for the 1 month, I know there were some issues here and there, but they, you know, really the increased ridership seems to dwindle a lot of those negatives, perceptions that are out there. So when these trains are a little bit more full, when people are taking in the trains to and from the buses and everything else, you'll find that you know, a lot of those issues are not happening just because of, I think, numbers on our vehicles. So that's why, you know, the best thing we could do for these 2 months is to push out that take RTD to get to work, to get to events, to get you know, restaurants downtown, see places of Colorado you may have never seen. And then, you know, once you realize how convenient it is, then they continue to stay and become customers for life. And like I said, that growth is really probably the best thing that the police department could ask for. So.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Stuart and Steve, for providing more context around Respect the Ride. And Earl, I hope that answered your question. And looking at the list here, it looks like, Joe, do you have another question for us?
No, that answers my question. Perhaps a suggestion would be that we have somebody, just an RTD cop, ride around on a bicycle from bus stop to bus stop. No, they don't have to be armed or anything, but just stop and go into conversation and find out why they're sitting there. If they're not waiting for our bus, well then that's loitering and they need to move on.
Appreciate that. I think I know our team will try to strike that balance. As we mentioned, you know, the majority of stops, I mean, I think it's over 10,000 stops are actually operated by local municipalities, et cetera, but we'll obviously do what we can. And I know the entire transit police team will as well, where they can. So thank you for the feedback.
All right, I'm not seeing any other questions immediately in the chat or with any hands raised. So I'll just give a little more time. If anybody has any more questions, comments for us, now is the time, please.
And while that's happening, thank you, Ashlyn. Steve Riley again. I'll just jump in and say thank you again so much for everything that you all have done in the past, for your collaboration and participation this year, and encourage you to go to that rtd-denver.com/zerofare webpage. Take a look at the information, the assets. We're continuously updating that. There'll be some additional information about some additional environmental benefits, things of that nature moving forward. I saw a question in the chat about the how to ride videos. We actually just launched those this morning. So they're up on that page right now. We're going to have them up in various aspects of our site and also on social. If anyone would like access to those, to use those, they are large files. So certainly let us know, and we'll see if we can't make those available in a better format if folks would like to share those. And of course, we think the toolkit's very comprehensive, as everything from graphical assets to key messages to templates. However, if there's something that we've missed, feel free to please reach out and let us know. And as I said earlier, please also feel free to reach out to Anne, who's been very gracious to help us coordinate all these activities.
And I'll just acknowledge Elaine's chat about asking the idea of asking people the creative different uses of transit, getting to recreation, trying to get somewhere that by transit they haven't been before. We do want to incorporate some storytelling into this over these next couple of months. Probably heavy on social media and things of that nature, but we're trying to find ways to identify these stories and tell those stories. Because again, we do want to really amplify the message of, we're not asking people to ride every day. We're not asking, we just want people to try us. So whether you ride us regularly, whether you haven't ridden in a while, whether you've never ridden, we really want to take the opportunity over these 2 months to build that habit forming of just introducing it, making sure people know that it is an option if they want to go downtown or they want to go on a date night or they need to get to school or whatever their life may entail, that we do connect across the Denver metro region. So storytelling will definitely be a part of that. So thanks for that note. And then I see Nisha, I think your hand was up next, I believe.
Yeah, thank you. Just 2 questions. Is this deck going to be available for us to view after this call? And then I was curious if there are going to be any goals as far as ridership numbers that we should be aware of.
To answer your first question, yes, this presentation and this recording will actually be available. So for those who might not have attended, or for those who really just had such a good time, they want to go back and watch the presentation, they can do that as well. As far as goals, certainly the main goals here are to increase ridership month over month, year over year, right? So obviously we want July to be higher than June. We want August to be higher than July, and we want August to be higher than it was in 2022. Specific numbers, as far as I'm aware, have not been defined as far as a metric of ridership to promote, but if that is defined at some point, we would certainly communicate that. And again, I would point back to the Zero Fare page that will be updated as time passes through this. Here we are, June 8th, so there'll definitely be more just facts, figures, things of that nature. And if any goals like that arise, then we'll definitely promote that in the appropriate channels. But we don't have a specific number unless Tina, unless different. I saw you raise your hand if you wanted to respond.
No, actually, I was going to piggyback on your storytelling conversation you were having prior to this. So no, I didn't have an additional comment on what you're saying. No, sorry.
Got you. We will come back to you. I don't want to skip.
No.
Nisha, I hope that answered your question.
And Nisha, I would just add one quick thing. I think our goal is we just want to allow people to change habits. And so we're really trying to say it's very qualitative versus quantitative, but it really is focused on, can we change habits, even if it's just, a few people that have never tried it before. We don't really want to tie to a specific number because there's so many variables, but really trying to say, are we making a difference and having an impact is what I would say are those high level goals.
We're here to help. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Krista, it looks like you have a question.
Yeah, kind of a question and a comment. I did make a chat, and I kind of wanted to expand on that a little bit as we're talking about marketing around this zero fare. And I think we've seen in this conversation here that a lot of people are concerned about safety, especially people that aren't used to riding the buses that we're hoping to gather for this project. And so I think it's important that we listen to those concerns and those fears around safety, but that we also make an effort when people bring these up, that we try to help them extend empathy to those people who are struggling with substance abuse and homelessness on our public transit here, and that they deserve to be there just as much as any of us, and that we should obviously be using a lot of caution when calling the police around these people who have probably historically had very bad interactions with the police. So while safety is important, I would also encourage a message of empathy towards our neighbors that we're going to be existing around, that you might be seeing more of while you're on the buses for this time.
Krista, I appreciate that comment. With respect to Ride, our new rebrand and this effort on the customer code of conduct, we're trying to emphasize the first step is education. You know, if somebody is violating one of our policies or is in need, we want to make sure that we first ask questions, connect them to resources, whatever resources that maybe we can't traditionally, are not available traditionally by a transit agency, but are available through our community partners. So I think that's the first step, and I appreciate you adding that comment. And as a team, we'll internally discuss also maybe some additional ways to really push that factor as well. But we really want to make sure we understand public transit, operative word is public, and we serve all individuals.
Thank you.
Right, and I'm not seeing any more hands in the chat. Let's see here. One just came up. Lily, thank you. Please go ahead.
I think you might be muted, Lily.
We still can't hear you, Lily, if you can hear us. Okay, while we wait for Lily to try and connect, Steve, did you have something to mention?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with Stuart, and I saw it pop up on the chat as well about social workers first and least last resort. For those that don't know, RTD, we do work very closely with WellPower. So we do have mental health clinicians that are contracted within the RTD transit system. And we also have a homeless outreach navigator. So that individual goes out, contacts encampments, contacts anyone that may be experiencing homelessness and utilizing RTD and meets with them and tries to direct them to services, and works closely with all the 8 counties that we go through in regards to trying to find the best resources within those counties. And then lastly, we also have a trifold pamphlet that we put out. They're on our buses and trains. They have all resource information, phone numbers, addresses, ways to get in touch with them. So RTD is very, forward thinking in regards to some of the societal issues out there. So I just want to make sure this group understood that, we don't go directly to the police. We have a lot of options for individuals to get them to the places that may be able to assist them. So.
Thanks for that additional context, Steve. Lily, are you still interested in asking a question? I just saw the hand go down. Anyone else for the time being? All right. Well, it seems there are no other questions, but obviously feel free to jump in. But just want to say thanks again to everyone for your participation. Last year was a success. Really excited about this year again with that goal of just forming the habit. And to touch on what Ann mentioned earlier about, we understand that different providers and agencies have different times, different, some are expanding service, some are going for longer, some are going for shorter, depending on what their needs and their grants require and provide for. But that's hopefully where we've hit the mark with this toolkit. And in addition to being geographically diverse, we're really hoping that you all can take these and tailor them as you need to. I mean, we have everything from, basic PDF and JPEG materials to actual InDesign files that anyone's designer or teams can work on to adapt as they see necessary. We obviously ask if you're using the Zero Fair lockup to keep that. But we've also got, even examples of how to co-brand our products and services if you want to collaborate and put different logos on different assets and pieces. So just thanks again for everyone for doing this. We're really excited about it. It's coming up here soon. I think this year is going to be a success, and excited to see where this all goes. And I'll just turn it over. I don't know if Stuart or Steve, you wanted to say any final words or whatever the case, but just wanted to give that opportunity.
Just wanted to say thanks as well. Reach out to us if you have questions. This has been great conversation. We want this to be successful, and we want you all to be successful because, this is a partnership as well, and we collaborate. So if there's additional ideas you have, let us know. We're here to help you, and thanks for helping us.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Go to that Zero Fair page, check it out. And as I said, we've got everything up there and more to come. So really excited, and please reach out through those channels, whether it's permits or whatever the case. And I believe most of you have obviously Tina's information, but reach out and we'll support you however we can. So feel free to ping us with any questions, input as we move forward. And again, just thank you all.
Yes, thank you all. We really appreciate your
Thank
time
you.
today.